So this time we're going to chat about how you've increased your company simply by its footprint, moving into new territories. So how do you describe ACT Group, Michael? What territories are you in, please?
So northeast of England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and the northwest of England.
Okay, and when we talk about this, the thing that makes me smile and think, my goodness, why don't you just, I don't know, calm down, slow down, is because you're the number one in the northeast of England. And the other territories, you increase your footprint, of course, and the potential for growth, and we'll come to why you even bother going there in just a moment. But how do you feel about the fact that it's hard work? You know, you're moving into territories where you're not as famous as in the northeast, where you're not as chosen or arguably as trusted, because you can't be trusted until you're known and understood. Why do you do this? Why do you put yourself through it?
Many reasons, I guess, but because we know we can be the fastest and the most accurate, and so that hopefully will increase customer engagement and make us more famous in those regions.
So this is the change you want to make. So when you go into a new territory, I'm sure, and I don't know the answer to this, but I would assume you must have a look at the other people with whom you're competing in each new territory. Do you have a little look?
Yes.
And so as a fundamental, you believe you can be faster with how quickly you get a cutting tool or a lubricant to somebody than the people who are already in the space?
Yes, 100%, yes.
Doesn't that take cash out of your business? Because, for example, you must have to hold stock physically in the geography before you've even impacted from a business income point of view. You've got to set yourself up properly. I mean, you're not just sending someone out there with a car and a hope and a prayer.
No, you've got to have a presence in the form of a branch. So all these areas will have branches, and then you've got to have stock on site as well. So yes, to answer your question, yes, it's cash investment to achieve faster performance.
And with regards to getting the cutting tool to them more quickly, I don't know the percentage, that's a big part of what you do, but just as importantly, correct me if I'm wrong, is getting them the right cutting tool. So that comes from the fact that tell me about the fact you have specialists inside the company who help to prescribe accurately across all of these territories. How does that work?
Well, you've got to have the skill set and the engineering knowledge to prescribe the right product, let's say. Mm-hmm. Without that, then you're prescribing, or someone's going to prescribe the wrong product likely. So you've got to have the knowledge to prescribe the right product, and then you've got to have the stock to be able to deliver it fast.
Okay, so I know this is just stating the obvious, but you can help people to get the wrong cutting tool really quickly, or the right cutting tool in a bit.
Yeah,
you have to tick both boxes.
Yeah.
In these 4 territories.
Yes.
So tell me how long you've been in each territory, if you don't mind.
So northeast of England, 17 years now. Northern Ireland's 3 to 4. Scotland about 6 months. And the northwest is just recent months, few months now in the northwest.
And the biggest territory by actual footprint is the northwest.
Potential, yes, I would say the northwest. Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about Northern Ireland. Tell me again how long you've been in Northern Ireland. For a couple of years now.
A few years, yeah, 3 to 4 years.
3 to 4 years. How's it going? I mean, because that's the second most established territory.
Good. A lot of aerospace, a lot of medical over there. So yeah, it's going very well.
Okay. And in terms of the region, because this is a chat about reach and increasing your footprint by going into new regions. Correct me if I'm wrong, it's the beginning of 2023 as we're chatting. Is Scotland front of mind at the moment, the bit that's making you think most deeply? Have I got that right or wrong? You're having a good think about Scotland at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, because those regions were all part of a business plan, 17 years ago, and it went in this order: North East Scotland, Northern Ireland, Northwest.
Yeah.
We did dabble with Scotland many years ago. It didn't work out how we had anticipated, so that's when we moved into Northern Ireland and took a step back from Scotland. But now Scotland's become more front of mind again, as we move back in there. And I think the lessons that we'll learn were about having a branch, having stock, having local people, local expertise, rather than just moving into that area and supporting from a distance.
Okay, so Scotland, another country. Whereabouts? Have you got like a little HQ? You've got a HQ in Scotland, not HQ, but you've got a physical place in Scotland.
Factory or offices and factory in Fife. It's about 2,500, a little less than 2,500 square foot.
Okay, so it's pretty big. I mean, to kind of go there without an established, it's very early for you. So without an established customer base, you're confident. It's really weird. I mean, because we know what ACT stands for, i.e. getting the right cutting tool really quickly, I think I know what the answer is going to be. But you think that is going to be the most valuable promise you can make to the Scottish market, the North East. You're the most used and the most trusted in the North East. We know this. But you think the same promise, i.e. you'll get the most right cutting tool faster than anybody else, that's your intention. Is that going to resonate in Scotland as much as the North East?
Yes, exactly the same blueprint. That's the lesson that was, I suppose, that I've learned, that you've got to have local people, a local branch, local stock, local expertise. It's the blueprint. Take the blueprint of the North East that works.
Yeah.
You move it into another region. You duplicate that blueprint and making sure that industry in a different region has the same expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Then ultimately you're going to deliver a better solution.
And how does your supply chain, I mean, remind us, because I've forgotten, approximately how many different suppliers do you work with and how many cutting tools can I get from you?
Hundreds of suppliers, 1.5 million different tools.
Okay. So, either it won't be the grapevine, you'll have prepared. When you chat to them, either openly or kind of just in passing about, I'm talking about your suppliers now, and you say, look, I'm increasing the footprint of the company, but I still want the same speed, and if I want this particular tool, I need that precise one, because that's what we prescribed, and I need it really quickly. Do you get any ripples of worry from your supply chain? Because they're helping you to keep your promises. Is everything okay with them?
They encourage it. I mean, if you take Northern Ireland as an example, one of our partner suppliers really encouraged it, because they saw the blueprint we had, that Northern Ireland region was crying out for that.
Okay, and I mentioned earlier, and this is linked to what you've just said about prescription actually. Tell me about how the specialists work. Are you able to reel off, look Mike, I've got these many people who specialise in, because it's not one size fits all. The more I learn about ACT Group, you have human beings inside your expanding company that specialise in this, that or t'other. Can you tell me about the specialists, please?
In what respect?
Well, you've brought someone in lubricants is one of your a bolt-on, but it's now part of your core offering. How long ago did your lubricants offer happen?
Well, so we created another division in lubricant division.
Yeah.
And that's been going, I would say, between 3 and 4 years now.
And you brought someone in who was an absolute specialist in that, didn't you?
Yeah. So it's headed up by a lubricant expert and then 2 service guys as well, yeah.
Do you have specialists by sector on the inside, or by types of, I don't know, the types of companies that you work with, i.e. the sectors that you work in?
Products. So we've got special products that specialise for oil and gas, for instance, aerospace, etc., etc.
Okay, no problem. 2023, so we're in the first month of 2023. I'm interested in, I'm going to go off on one and then I'm going to come back to this question of reach. By sector, if you don't mind, let me know what's happening, what sectors are feeling really buoyant at the moment? What are you really optimistic about for 23?
Oil and gas is doing very well at the moment. Very buoyant, which is a bit,
so
strange.
3 or 4 years ago, that wouldn't have been.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Right, okay. What? Okay. So political reasons.
Probably, yeah. Okay,
no problem. And with regards to the 4 regions that you're in, Northern Ireland, Scotland, the Northwest, and what's that one?
Northeast.
Okay, the Northeast, of course, the homeland. which do you think, as we go through 2023 and 2024, on the subject of accelerated growth, which one's going to accelerate, would you anticipate, the fastest in terms of its growth?
Scotland and the northwest, I would suspect.
Okay, no problem.
Only because of the virgin areas, so we don't have a footprint as such there at the minute. It's very small, so bigger potential, bigger region to get the message out about faster prescription.
Okay. And we have people who listen to you talking about the things you've done in your business, not even necessarily with cutting tools. The people who listen from a bit of the research that we've done are people who just want to learn about, for example, how to grow a business.
Yeah.
I'm going to revisit something we mentioned earlier. Because you're not singular in your thinking, but I know that ultimately, of course, you make all the bigger decisions. You make money in the Northeast, you get to number one, as we said earlier, biggest market share, most trusted, most famous brand. And then not all the money, but clearly a significant amount of money that you make in that one region, you have to invest in another uncharted territory.
Mm-hmm.
How does that make you feel? I mean, why don't you, I don't know, I don't really mean this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Why don't you just sit tight and go for the... You've got slow, steady growth in the Northeast. Year on year, you've grown every year.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a year you've gone backwards, even during the...
COVID period, okay. But apart from that...
So what's my question? I suppose it's like, you don't give yourself an easy life, because you'll go into these new territories, and even though it's well researched, there has to be an element of risk, and you've got to put money up front, because one of the promises you're making is about speed. You've got to actually physically locate stock in these new territories. How does this make you feel?
Excited, and if I didn't, then surely I'd be bored. So I hear what you're saying. What you're basically asking, I assume, is why not just put my feet up and let things tick along as they're going and grow year on year on the Northeast. Why take those bigger risks of obviously a much larger investment? I think it's the challenge. I think we can do good in different regions, do a better job for instance, Scottish industry. We can deliver better solutions to customers faster to make them better and more profitable. So it goes back to the reasons why I started ACT in the pillars. It's not about the money. It's not about the success. It's really about doing better for industry. We've done it in the Northeast. We continue to do it. And we feel like if we move into other regions, we can bring it into those regions as well. And I think one thing, UK industry in particular, and the regions we work in, it's a global competitive market, and let's be honest, every customer needs help in whatever things it's trying to achieve. And you're not competing with the guy down the street, you're competing with people in India, China, all over the world. And so if we can do our bit to make customers better, more profitable, more efficient, well then that's the drive, that's the reasons behind doing what we do, not the money, not the success, really.
So you're really talking about what we've talked about kind of off air, which is supporting world-class engineering. So you must believe that there are examples of world-class engineered product and world-class engineering companies, which are two different things, I would suggest.
Yeah.
In all of these regions, and you're going to help them to raise their game even more.
100%, 100%. We've got some fantastic customers, absolutely fantastic customers, who do, great work. That their level of service and capability is, world reaching and world competitive, and we just want to be part of making them better beyond that.
And we won't mention them, because I don't think you want me to, but you've just been chosen by a globally recognised brand, haven't you?
Yeah.
To be the sole supplier
of
all of this one thing that they buy.
Yeah.
And you can talk about that in February or March, probably.
Yes.
Okay, no problem. So we'll come back to that. Okay, the last thing then. The subject we're on is reach. So it's early days for you in the northwest and Scotland. You're very established in the northeast, and you're pretty established in Northern Ireland. Well, a bit more established. This is going to keep you busy for what, 2 or 3 years? You're going to go 23, 24, 25?
5.
Really?
I would say, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so in terms of you're on the edge of the footprint, the geographical footprint that you want now for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
You're going to concentrate.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you learn? I'm interested in this about learning. Do you learn things in one region which inform another? I'm curious about that. Or is does each region, are there nuances of each region that are really unique to that region, or are there principles that go across all of them, or a bit of both? I'm curious about that.
Well, the blueprint we have, start with that, is the right one. So everything that we do as a business is the correct blueprint. Mm-hmm. The key to success in other regions is presence and people.
Okay.
Give them the blueprint of the how, the what, etc.
Okay.
And make sure it's local people with a branch, so they have a presence with then stock and the services. And
that's the way any great brand runs, because if you ACT believes in the more accurate prescription of whatever it is you're selling, cutting tools or lubricants, faster than anybody else.
Yes.
You couldn't be called ACT in these other regions if you went into another region and said we believe in something. I mean, this is the way it is, isn't it? So that's why ACT Group can be successful across the footprint.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The demands in Scotland or the northwest or any region will be the same. Top accurate products, fast at subcontracting. People at times don't know what they're doing the next day, and then they realise they haven't got the products, and so they go to companies who can prescribe them and then have them on site and deliver them immediately.
And the thing is, if you went into a region, you were, because I worried, how can you set up to be as able to deliver on the promise in the new region as you are in the most established region. The truth is, you can't go into any region with any less of a capability to deliver on the promise than your homeland of the northeast, or else you just break the brand.
Yeah, it's got to be the same.
Yeah, because
you uplift the blueprint.
Yeah.
The blueprint is correct. So whatever makes that successful in region 1, you move to region 2. The blueprint needs to be the same, and then the additional peripheral things is then about the people and the presence, etc.
So that's the detail of how you deliver on the promise, I suppose, that's different in each one. But as you say, the promise is a brand promise.
Yeah.
The accurate prescription of cutting tools and lubricants really, really quickly. Okay, thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Cheers, Mike.